Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining me. Here at the Greetery, we are busy getting ready for our 2024 holiday release. This year's holiday collection is called Fireside, and it's inspired by all of the things we love to do beside the fireplace at Christmas time. And one of those things, of course, is reading. And so we have a product suite that is book themed. And so in this video, I'll be showing the products from that product suite, and then we'll do a little how-to, and then I'll show you some examples. So first of all, there is the Have a Spine die. This is a 3-piece die that basically creates a spine of a book, a cover, and kind of a page detail. There are a couple of stamp sets in this product suite. The first one is the Christmas story, and this is Luke chapter 2 from the Bible, and it's basically your familiar version of the Christmas story. And there is a matching die for this stamp set, which cuts out some of these titles and scripture references from the set. And then there is also a set called Bookish Holiday Frames, and this is a set of pretty ornate detailed frames. These were inspired by some vintage books in my personal collection of books, and there's also a collection of sentiments, some of which are formatted to fit along the spine of a book, and then those same sentiments also in more of like a title form. These fun script sentiments are kind of designed to mimic the look of like an autograph or a message written inside of a book cover. And so those will be super fun for stamping inside of your cards. So let's go ahead and get into assembling a book cover using our Have a Spine die. And so I have already die cut the spine portion, which is this piece right here, and I have cut that from a burgundy cardstock. I've also cut the page detail die from a metallic gold cardstock. This is super fun to cut from gold or like a metallic cardstock to give the look of like a gilded edges on a book. And then the piece that I do want to demonstrate for you today is actually the cover portion. So that's this die right here, and I am going to show you how that works. So I'm going to start with a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of cardstock, which is just your normal kind of the normal card size we tend to work with. And so I'm going to be lining up this die so that this top edge right here and this edge along the outer edge is lined up with the upper left corner of my panel. And so to do this, I usually just lay it on a hard surface, and you can usually kind of just nudge that up against there, and if you press down, you should be able to feel that the edge of the blade catch on the edge of the cardstock. So essentially that top blade and that left side blade aren't actually going to cut the paper. You're going to kind of just line those up, and that's going to be a guide. And then I like to take just a little bit of washi tape, hold that in place, and we'll go ahead and run that through my die cut machine. You can see here it's just going to it's going to score a line here, and it's going to cut the bottom edge. Okay, so I'm back. I ran that through my machine, and here is what I have. This bottom piece is just going to get discarded. You don't need that, so just go ahead and toss that. And I'll take away my die carefully so I don't tear with the washi tape. And there we have, basically we have our rounded corner, we have our scored edge, and then we have just this little bit of a notch here, which is a super fine detail, but to me really helps to make the book covers look just a little more realistic. So when you do this, you might end up with just a little bit of overhang here if your cardstock was ever so slightly wider than the 4 1/4, which happens all the time. But just go ahead and take that over to your paper trimmer, and you can just go ahead and just trim that little bit of piece right off. So here's one that I have already done and trimmed. You can see it has just this little kind of notch at the bottom. It just gives it a realistic touch to your book cover. So let's go ahead and put this together. I'm going to start by taking my page edge detail, and I'm going to flip that over to the back side, and I'm going to cover the back side with a strip of double-sided tape. There are several cut lines there which help to make those look like realistic pages. So that gets a little bit fragile. So I'm going to back that with the double-sided tape so that that all stays nice and intact and stabilizes everything just a little bit. And then I'm going to take the spine portion of the die, and there's a little catch right here that you're going to want to disconnect. So I'm going to just go ahead and you can either snip it with a scissors or you can probably just do it with your fingers as well. So just snip that piece right there, and then we're going to take the page detail and we're just going to slip that under that piece that we just snipped, line up. You'll see a little curved cut line there, which indicates where this piece goes, and just line that up with that, as well as the top edge, and then this right side as well with the little curved. So you can see how that just lines up there. That's tucked underneath there, and we're ready to go to the next step. The next step, you can go ahead and add your book cover. I have one here that I've already die cut like I just showed you. I stamped it with the rectangular frame from the Bookish Holiday frame stamp set. I'm just going to put some double-sided tape along the spine portion where it's scored. And then we're going to slip that under this piece that we snipped off, line that up, line up the edge of the spine with that scored line. Just press that into place. And then we're going to add some more double-sided tape to the top edge of that page detail. Would have probably been easier to add this score tape to that piece before we put the cover on, but either way, it's not too tough to do it later. And we'll just go ahead and secure that down. And there we have this cute book cover. And it is sized to fit an A2 card, so you can keep it nice and simple, and you can just attach that to a regular card base. Or I'll show you how to make it into an actual kind of a book that opens. But to keep things simple, you can go ahead and add it to just a standard A2 side fold card base. So next I'll show you how to create a book that sort of actually opens rather than just attaching this assembled book cover to a card front. So to do this, very much the same process, same die cutting process. I've kind of got one going already here did the same steps that I just showed you, except if you want to do it this way, you're going to have to die cut that cover piece a couple more times. So I've cut it twice from the color that I'm using for the cover, and then I cut it a third time from a basic, just a cream color. So this is basically going to be the inside of the card. So place to write a sentiment or stamp a sentiment, write a message, that sort of thing. So same process, just go ahead and do that die cutting. On this cream one, I'm going to go over and take it to my paper trimmer, and I'm going to trim just a little bit off of the width here. So this cream piece is just a little bit narrower than the green covers. So I'll go do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back and I trimmed that off, and now if I line these up, you'll be able to see that my cream colored piece is just slightly narrower, which is because it's more of a page than a cover. So I don't want it to be even or possibly extend slightly. I want it to be a little bit narrower. So now we can go ahead and assemble, and to do this, I'm going to put some adhesive double-sided tape in 3 different places. I'm going to put it on the top edge of my gilded pages. I'm going to put it on the spine of the cream color piece and the spine of my cover piece. So then we're going to remove the liner from the adhesive on the cream color piece and line that up with our cover so those 2 pieces get adhered together. Then we'll go ahead and remove that liner and this one on the spine or the page detail as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and tuck this into place, line up the spine edge with the scored piece and the bottom edge of that spine, just like that, and make sure everything's nice and straight, and push that down as well to adhere. Okay, so then basically you have your cover, which you can fold on that scored line to open up. And then this cream piece is actually attached, so this doesn't come away, that stays in place. And then in order to clean up the back a little bit, we're going to take that second cover piece that we die cut and we're going to adhere that to the cream piece. And so you can use some double-sided tape or however you want to adhere that. I'll just put some double-sided tape. It just finishes off the back side, makes it look a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer. So now we have basically this card, book card that opens up like this. Super fun. You can embellish that however you'd like. So before I go, I wanted to show you a few card examples that I put together using the products showcased in this video, plus some other goodies. This first one is a Christmas story card. It uses sentiments from the Christmas story, and this pretty frame is from our Winter Crest set. On the inside, this is just uses the Have a Spine die, and I just attached it to a regular card base. In the inside, I put the Christmas story on an A2 arch die cut, and I just attached that inside with a magnet, a disc magnet. And so that can be like a little fridge magnet for the recipient. This is a fun little way to put the Christmas story right on your fridge for the season. Next up is this cute one, which I embellished with some die cuts on the front. And this one has a sentiment stamped on the inside from the Bookish Holiday frame set. Again, I used the same technique that I showed secondly, as far as creating a book that actually opens. This next one, again, uses the same technique, the book that opens, but this time I also incorporated a vellum sheet. So in addition to how I showed you, you layer 2 of the book covers to create the back, and then a separate one for the front. I also sandwiched in there another page cut from vellum, and this was stamped with the Christmas story set, which is the Luke 2 scripture, and then some sentiments on the inside, which are from the Bookish Holiday frames, and then also a pretty new set called Scripted Holiday Sentiments. And of course, I love to make shaker cards. So this one actually incorporates a shaker into the book cover. I used some cute little, this is the little house from, I believe it's Christmas Time in the Country set. This one also used Christmas Time in the Country, but the stable instead of the house, this one uses the house from Christmas Time in the Country. And then there's just like a shaker that's filled with glitter, so that's super fun. Here's another Christmas story one, and this time instead of putting the vellum insert inside, I actually created the cover out of vellum so that you can see the Christmas story text underneath that vellum, and then it does open up into a regular card as well that I can write a sentiment or stamp a sentiment inside of there. I attached a little ribbon for a bookmark in between the 2 layers, the card base and the card front, so that's tucked nicely inside of there, and embellished it with some rosemary and berry die cuts, which is also a part of our new collection, which will be showcasing that on the blog tomorrow. So there's a little sneak peek there for you. So all in all, super fun projects, book themed covers, so fun to embellish. And of course you can use this die for other occasions besides holiday cards as well. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this peek into some of the new products that are part of our new Fireside collection. This is our 2024 holiday collection, which will be up in the shop on Wednesday, October 2 at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll see you soon. Thanks for joining me.